You've heard Billie Eilish's song about it, but do you know the real story behind the dancing plague of 1518? Let's get into it. It's the summer of 1518 in Strasbourg. That's right, Switzerland, not Strasbourg. In the Alsace region, a port city at the edge of civilization, Frau Trotta, a middle-aged housewife, leaves her house for her daily routine. She does her shopping, chats with neighbors, maybe indulges in a loaf of fresh bread. But when she returns home, something is wrong. She does not enter her house, but steps back onto the street and begins to dance. She moves, frantically twisting, turning, kicking. At first, her steps are shaky, unsure, and she quickly tires. Her neighbors gather around, confused and frightened. Is she mad? Has she seen a ghost? Has the devil entered her body? But as Frau Trotta collapses from exhaustion, something changes in her. Her eyes gleam with a disturbing light. With a scream, she leaps up and dances anew, and she will not stop for 5 days. And when she finally succumbs to her exhaustion, she will rise up again and keep dancing. Again and again, Frau Trotta will continue dancing, thrashing about, kicking her feet until raw and bloody. She barely eats or drinks, though she seems unaware of her surroundings. All her attention is focused on her frenetic footwork, day after day, week after week, and then something horrifying happens. Others begin to join her. At first it's just 1 or 2 people, then more and more. Soon Strasbourg is gripped in a terrifying epidemic. More than 400 people are afflicted, writhing around in the streets, collapsing from fatigue only to get up and keep dancing. The local authorities are worried. They turn to the local clergy, but neither can find an explanation for this outbreak. People of all ages are affected, from toddlers to the elderly. They seem to have no control over their bodies, locked in endless contortions. Some are driven mad, biting, scratching, clawing at passers-by. Others fall down dead, their arms still moving in grotesque mockery of life. It's clear that something very bad is happening here. And as people die in the streets, the city fears becoming a mass grave. They must act fast to save Strasbourg. In the 16th century, medicine was in its infancy. Treatments ranged from letting blood to burning the sick with hot poker. Surgery was risky and childbirth was almost a death sentence. Most illnesses were attributed to an imbalance of the 4 humors, and the goal of treatment was to restore balance through purging, sweating, or herbal remedies. Unfortunately for the citizens of Strasbourg, none of these techniques work against the dancing plague. Instead, they try a different approach, one rooted in religion and superstition. They believe that the dancing sickness is sent by God as punishment for their sins. To atone, they build open-air altars in the market square, erect crosses along the roads. Every morning, townspeople parade through the streets in procession, beating themselves and chanting prayers. They beg for forgiveness for whatever crime they have committed that brought about the plague. But as the weeks pass and the epidemic worsens, the citizens become impatient. They demand that the council take action, that they do something to stop the dancing. And their demands are simple. They want music. What the hell? It sounds insane, but the council agreed. They organized concerts featuring bagpipes and drums along with fiddles and lutes. And as soon as the music started, more people joined in the dancing. They hoped that diverting the patients' attention with entertainment would tire them out faster. But it had the opposite effect, causing the epidemic to rapidly spread. Over the next few weeks, the town becomes a surreal scene. On the one hand, there's a normal medieval city going about its business. Merchants sell their wares, church bells ring, and animals roam the cobblestone streets. And then there are the dancers. They move from one street to another, sometimes stopping to rest, but always returning to the dance. Eventually, the entire city is infected. Some of the dancers are cared for by their families, but most are abandoned, left to wander the streets and move to the music. It's unclear how long the epidemic continues, but chroniclers claim that it slowly burned itself out. The music stopped and the dancing ceased. Strasbourg slowly returned to normal. The people went back to their daily lives and the dancing plague became a thing of legend. But not all legends are myths, because some scientists actually think that the dancing plague of 1518 really happened. There are written records of the event from August through September of 1518, and while they're vague and often contradictory, they describe a very real outbreak of some sort. It wasn't just one person who danced herself to death. Something terrible happened in Strasbourg and killed at least some of the people involved. But what exactly happened remains a mystery. One of the more popular theories is that the dancing plague was caused by rye ergot poisoning. Ergotism is a disease caused by a fungus called ergot, which infects rye and other grains. Ingesting the fungus triggers symptoms such as gangrene and convulsions, and in severe cases it can cause the limbs to spasm uncontrollably, much like a seizure. While there's no evidence that ergot was responsible for the plague, ergotism outbreaks did occur in Europe throughout the Middle Ages, and one scientist hypothesized that ergot could cause a form of mass hysteria. our current understanding of food safety is relatively new. The idea that contaminated food could trigger a pandemic was unheard of in the 16th century. Plus, the main symptoms of ergot poisoning, gangrenous limbs, didn't appear in Strasbourg. So this theory, while interesting, doesn't quite add up. Another explanation is mass hysteria. Mass psychogenic illness is a condition that can occur when a group of people shares a common fear. Stress, anxiety, and repressed emotions can manifest physically, causing symptoms that resemble a disease. Even though nothing is physically wrong with the sufferers, they may experience everything from blindness to paralysis. These symptoms usually resolve on their own, but that might take days, weeks, or even months. Several historians have noted that the conditions in Strasbourg were ripe for mass hysteria. For years, the city suffered from famine, disease, and economic hardship. Famine had killed thousands of people, leaving the survivors weak and vulnerable, and during the siege of 1522, thousands more perished. So it's possible that stress and anxiety could have played a role in the dancing plague. Then there's the possession theory. According to legend, people could be possessed by demons, causing them to dance uncontrollably, foam at the mouth, and speak in tongues. This may sound far-fetched, but in the 16th century, people believed that demons could enter their bodies and control their actions. During the Reformation, Europe became obsessed with the devil, with many believing that the devil and his minions lurked around every corner. This paranoia fueled witch trials, torture, and the execution of thousands of innocent people. So it's possible that the people of Strasbourg saw the dancing plague as a demonic invasion. This theory is backed up by the fact that some of the dancers claimed that demons were entering their bodies and forcing them to move. Whatever the cause, the dancing plague killed hundreds of people in the streets of Strasbourg. But unlike some diseases, there's no plaque, no pathogen that can be identified. What's more, the symptoms of the plague, dancing, foaming at the mouth, convulsions, and collapse, are too varied and bizarre to be linked to any known illness. For all we know, the dancing plague could have been caused by anything from LSD to zombie worms. So the question remains, was it a hallucination, a hoax, or something else entirely? We may never know for sure. And that's why the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of history's greatest mysteries. So what do you think caused the dancing plague? Do you have any other theories? Tell me in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to wtffacts for more amazing videos. Hit the bell icon so you never miss our next dark tale. Until next time, stay curious.